Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Braj Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Braj Janaranjana. Yamunatira Vanachari. Yamunatira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada. Jai Om Vishnupad, Paramams Parivrajak Ashtotar Shat, Śrīmad His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta, Swami Srila Prabhupada ki, Grantaraj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today we are reading from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 23, entitled The Dynasties of the Sons of Yayati. And today we'll read from shloka number 32 onwards. So rest of the shlokas for this chapter, they don't have a purport. So we will finish this chapter, go to the next chapter. And again, there are many verses without purports. So we'll go until the verse where there is a purport. And I think it's 34th verse. So there's a lot of verses we'll be reading. Only the translations, because otherwise it will take us till 8:30 if we read everything. Okay, so 32. Tasya patni sahasranam dashanam sumahayashaha dashalaksha sahasrani putranam tasvajijanat. Tasya patni sahasranam dashanam sumahayashaha dashalaksha sahasrani putranam tasvajijanat. Tasya patni sahasranam dashanam sumahayashaha dashalaksha sahasrani putranam tasvajijanat. Dashanam sumahayashaha dashalaksha sahasrani putranam tasvajijanat. Mataji's. Tasya patni sahasranam dashanam sumahayashaha dashalaksha sahasrani putranam jajijanat. Tasya of Shashabindu, Patni wives, Sahasranam of thousands, Dashanam 10, Sumahayashaha greatly famous, Dasha 10, Laksha lakhs, 1 lakh equals 100,000, Sahasrani thousands, Putranam of sons, Tasu in them, Ajijanat he begot. Translation. The famous Shashabindu had 10,000 wives, and by each he begot 1 lakh of sons. Therefore, the number of his sons were 10,000 lakhs. That's a big number. Okay, now we'll continue reading only the translations. So, text 33. Among these many sons, 6 were the foremost, such as Prithushrava and Prithukirti. The son of Prithushrava was known as Dharma, and his son was known as Ushana. Ushana was the performer of 100 horse sacrifices. Ushana, I think it's another name of Shukracharya. It's mentioned in Bhagavad Gita also. Ushana. That's from memory. So text 34. The son of Ushana was Ruchaka, or it may be another Ushna. Sometimes same name is given to different people. So Ruchaka, who had 5 sons, Purujit, Rukmeshu, Prithu and Jamagha. Please hear of these sons from me. Text 35 to 36. Jamagha had no sons, but because he was fearful of his wife, Shebya, he could not accept another wife. Jamagha once took from the house of some royal enemy a girl who was a prostitute. But upon seeing her, Shebya was very angry and said to her husband, "My husband, you cheater! Who is this girl sitting upon my seat on the chariot?" Jamagha then replied, "This girl will be your daughter-in-law." Upon hearing these joking words, Shebya smilingly replied. Text 37. Shebya said, "I am sterile and have no co-wife. How can this girl be my daughter-in-law? Please tell me." Jamagha replied, "My dear queen, I shall see that you indeed have a son and that this girl will be your daughter-in-law." So these are some pastimes of the big kingly palaces. All these things happened. Kings were allowed to marry many wives. Kshatriyas were allowed in previous ages. So all these complications are there according to that. So text 38, that's the last text of this chapter. Long, long ago, Jamagha had satisfied the demigods and pitas by worshipping them. Now, by their mercy, Jamaga's words came true. Although Shebya was barren, by the grace of the demigods, she became pregnant and in due course of time gave birth to a child named Vidarbha. Before the child's birth, the girl had been accepted as a daughter-in-law, and therefore Vidarbha actually married her when he grew up. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 9th canto, 23rd chapter of the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, entitled The Dynasties of the Sons of Yayati. And now the last chapter of 9th canto, chapter 24, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So there is a summary which mainly has all the different names. So if I read the summary and then the translation, it will be pretty much reading same thing twice. So I'll skip the summary and go straight to the verses. We'll be reading around 33 verses, so it's quite a lot, short only. So text number 1, Shukdev Goswami said, "By the womb of the girl brought by his father, Vidarbha begot 3 sons named Kusha, Kratha and Romapada. Romapada was the favorite in the dynasty of Vidarbha." And by the way, devotees are very interested in hearing Krishna's pastimes directly. So this is it basically. From so many years, more than 10 years probably, we were reading Śrīmad Bhāgavatam from the beginning, this time on. So now we are about to reach 10th canto, and this is the last chapter of 9th canto, and the title is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So basically Krishna will appear in this chapter, although Krishna is present throughout Bhagavatam, but more clearly he will appear in his original form in this chapter. So this is a very important chapter. And there are very nice longer purports towards the end of this chapter, by Prabhupada. So let's continue. Text number 2. The son of Romapada was Babhru, from whom there came a son named Kriti. The son of Kriti was Ushika, and the son of Ushika was Chedi. From Chedi was born the king known as Chaitya and others. Text number 4. The son of Kratha was Kunti, the son of Kunti Vrishni, the son of Vrishni Nivritti, and the son of Nivritti Dasharha. From Dashara came Vyoma. From Vyoma came Jimuta. From Jimuta, Vikriti. From Vikriti, Bhimaratha. From Bhimaratha, Navaratha. And from Navaratha, Dasharatha. Text number 5. From Dasharatha came a son named Shakuni, and from Shakuni a son named Karambhi. The son of Karambhi was Devarata, and his son was Devakshattra. The son of Devakshattra was Madhu, and his son was Kuruvasha, from whom there came a son named Anu. So there's lots of names, so we may think, why are we reading all these names? We can skip all these verses. But actually, as Sanatana Goswami says, each syllable of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is filled with Krishna Prem. So there is a therapeutic effect of hearing these things. We may not make sense of it, but it is written or spoken in a certain way to elevate our consciousness. So we must hear very attentively each verse, whether it's all the names or any philosophy that we may not be interested in. So this is our material conditioning, so we should neglect that and hear carefully the verses. So text number 8, text number 6 to 8 actually. The son of Anu was Puruhotra, the son of Puruhotra was Ayu, and the son of Ayu was Satvata. O great Aryan king, Satvata had 7 sons named Bhajamana, Bhaji, Divya, Vrishni, Deva, Vridha, Andhaka and Mahabhoja. From Bhajamana, by one wife came 3 sons, Nimlochi, Kinkana and Drishti. And from his other wife came 3 sons, Shatajit, Sahasrajit and Ayutajit. Text 9. The son of Deva Vridha was Babru. Concerning Deva Vridha and Babru, there are 2 famous songs of prayer which were sung by our predecessors and which we have heard from a distance. Even now I hear the same prayers about their qualities, because that which was heard before is still sung continuously. So who is speaking here? They are saying that about these sons we have heard. So who is speaking here? Anyone knows? So the chapter began with Shukdev Goswami says. So here Shukdev Goswami is speaking. Shri Shuka Vacha. And he says, I hear the same prayers about their qualities. And then in the brackets it says, because which was heard before is still sung continuously. So this Bhagavatam is an eternal body of knowledge. It's always sung in different planetary systems. And of course the verses may differ. To Brahma only the Chaturshloki Bhagavatam was revealed. Here we have 18,000 verses. But the point is Krishna Katha is sung continuously. So we must hear the various aspects. And there are 10 subject matters as mentioned in 2nd canto of any Mahapurana, including Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. So this is one, the dynasties of Manu. So this is one of the subject matter of a Purana. So very, very important, because these kings are not just ordinary personalities. Most of these kings are Raj Rishis or sages who were ruling over different parts of the world. So it's very important to hear. And this is one of the 10 subjects of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. And then the most important subject matter of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is the Ashraya, the Sammam Bonam. In each canto we have all 10 subjects, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, but the emphasis is different. In one canto, one or two of the subjects are elaborately mentioned and others are mentioned in a small way. But in 10th canto, the subject, Ashraya, is mentioned most elaborately. There is mention of Krishna's pastimes in other cantos also, 2nd canto, 3rd canto, about Krishna's Vrindavan pastimes, Dwarka pastimes. We have some glimpses in previous cantos, but in 10th canto, this Ashraya Tattva subject is fully, elaborately described. And that was the purpose of writing Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, because as we know, Vyasadeva was dissatisfied by, even after writing all the Puranas, Upanishads, Mahabharata, he was not satisfied. So Narad Muni, his guru, said, you must elaborately explain about Krishna directly. So that is the goal, Samam Bonam, Ashraya Tattva. So we are about to reach 10th canto now. Okay, text 10 and 12. It has been decided among human beings, Babru is the best, and that Deva Vriddha is equal to the demigods. Because of the association of Babru and Deva Vriddha, all of their descendants, numbering 14,065, achieved liberation. In the dynasty of King Mahabhoja, who was exceedingly religious, there appear the Bhoja kings. You see, this is the prayer that Shukdev Goswami is saying, that we have heard about these two personalities, Babru, Deva Vriddha. If you ask kids these days, they will tell you the names of all popular musicians, sports players. But what's the use? They are just conditioned living entities, and most of them are performing so many sinful activities. But here we are hearing about Babru, Deva Vriddha, and it says their descendants, 14,065, achieved liberation. So these are very exalted personalities. So just we have to change our thinking, that who should we discuss about? Just these normal, ordinary, sinful personalities, or these personalities who achieve liberation? So that's why this is a reminder for us. Text number 12. O King Maharaj Parikshit, who can suppress our enemies, the sons of Vrishni were Sumitra and Yudhajit. From Yudhajit came Shini and Anamitra. And from Anamitra came a son named Nigna. Text 13. The two sons of Nigna were Satrajita and Prasena. Another son of Anamitra was another Shini, and his son was Satyaka. Text 14. The son of Satyaka was Yuyudhana, whose son was Jaya. From Jaya came a son named Kuni, and from Kuni a son named Yugandhara. Another son of Anamitra was Vrishni. Text 15. From Vrishni came the sons named Shwafalka and Chitraratha. From Shwafalka, by his wife Gandhini, came Akrura. Now familiar names would start coming. Akrura was the eldest, but there were 12 other sons, of whom, all of whom were most celebrated. Text 16 to 18. The names of these 12 were Asanga, Sarameya, Mridura, Mriduvit, Giri, Dharmavriddha, Sukarma, Kshetropeksha, Animardana, Shatrugna, Gandhamada, Pratibahu. These brothers also had a sister named Suchara, and from Akrura came two sons named Devavan and Upadeva. Chitraratha had many sons headed by Prithu and Viduratha. Viduratha is another demon, I think, killed by Krishna, Viduratha. All of whom were known as belonging to the dynasty of Vrishni. Text 19. Kukura, Bhajamana, Shuchi and Kambala Varhisha were the four sons of Andhaka. The son of Kukura was Vahani and his son was Viloma. Text 20. The son of Viloma was Kapotaroma and his son was Anu, whose friend was Tumburu. From Anu came Andhaka, from Andhaka Dundubi, and from Dundubi Avidyota. From Avidyota came a son named Punarvasu. Text 21 to 23. Okay, little more patience and we'll be reaching a purport. We're about to reach a purport. Punarvasu had a son and a daughter. named Ahuka and Ahuki respectively. And Ahuka had two sons named Devaka and Ugrasena. So now all these familiar names are there. Devaka had four sons named Devavan, Upadeva, Sudeva and Devavardhana. And he also had 7 daughters named Shantideva, Upadeva, Śrīdeva, Devarakshita, Sahadeva, Devaki and Dhrita Deva. So who is Devaki? Krishna's birth-giving mother. Dhrita Deva was the eldest. Vasudev, the father of Krishna, married all these sisters. So I've heard Vasudeva had 16 wives. So here it says 7. Huh? Okay, maybe there were other wives also. So text 24. Kamsa, Sunama, Nyagrodha, Kanka, Shanku, Suhu, Rashtrapala, Drishti and Tushtiman were the sons of Ugrasena. So here comes the infamous Kamsa, son of Ugrasena. Text 25. Kamsa, Kamsavati, Kanka, Shurabhu and Rashtrapalika were the daughters of Ugrasena. They became the wives of Vasudeva's younger brothers. Text 26. The son of Chitraratha was Viduratha. The son of Viduratha was Shura. And his son was Bhajamana. The son of Bhajamana was Shini. The son of Shini was Bhoja. And the son of Bhoja was Hridika. Text 27. The 3 sons of Hridika were Deva Medha, Shatadhanu and Kritavarma. The son of Deva Medha was Shura, whose wife was named Marisha. Okay, text 28 to 31. Through Marisha, King Shura begot Vasudeva, Devabhaga, Devashrava, Anaka, Srinjaya, Shyamaka, Kanka, Shamika, Vatsaka and Vrika. These 10 sons were spotlessly pious personalities. When Vasudeva was born, the demigods from the heavenly kingdom sounded kettle drums. Therefore, Vasudeva, who provided the proper place for the appearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, was also known as Anaka Dundubi, which means the kettle drums were sounded. The 5 daughters of the king Shura, named Pritha, Shrutadeva, Shrutakirti, Shrutashrava and Rajadi Devi, were Vasudeva's sisters. Shura gave Pritha to his friend Kunti, who had no issue, and therefore another name of Pritha was Kunti. So Kunti is the mother of which heroes? The Pandavas. So that's how we see, because Pritha and Vasudeva both were children of King Shura, they are brother and sister. So that's why Krishna is, or Arjuna is the maternal brother. They are cousins. Krishna and Pandavas are cousins. Text 32. Once when Durvasa was a guest at the house of Pritha's father Kunti, Pritha satisfied Durvasa by rendering service. Therefore, she received a mystic power by which she could call any demigod. To examine the potency of this mystic power, the pious Kunti immediately called for the sun god. Text 33. As soon as Kunti called for the demigod of the sun, he immediately appeared before her, and she was very much surprised. She told the sun god, I was simply examining the effectiveness of this mystic power. I'm sorry I have called you unnecessarily. Please return and excuse me. Okay, now text 34, we have a purport finally. Amogham deva sandarsham adade tvai chatmajam yoneryatha na dushyeta kartaham te sumadhyame. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. The sun god said, O beautiful Pritha, your meeting with the demigods cannot be fruitless. Therefore, let me place my seed in your womb so that you may bear a son. I shall arrange to keep your virginity intact since you are still an unmarried girl. Purport. According to Vedic civilization, if a girl gives birth to a child before she is married, no one will marry her. Therefore, although the sun god, after appearing before Pritha, wanted to give her a child, Pritha hesitated because she was still unmarried. To keep her virginity undisturbed, the sun god arranged to give her a child that came from her ear, and therefore the child was known as Karna. The custom is that a girl should be married akshata yoni, that is, with her virginity undisturbed. A girl should never bear a child before her marriage. That's end of purport. Om Agyantimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah Shri Chaitanya Manovishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So thank you for your patience of hearing so many names, which is a part of Bhagavatam. So any part of Bhagavatam we shouldn't resent actually. We should eagerly and attentively hear. So if something is stopping, that is the problem. That's the obstacle between us and Krishna. And here we are seeing that how Krishna is about to appear. So if a very dear person is about to come, then we are very eager, right? At the airports we see people go to receive their relatives or friends, and they are so eager, oh, this person is about to come. They wait. So even in material world we can see. So here we are inviting Krishna. He is about to appear. So we should be very eager about this. So whole purpose of Bhagavatam is to bring the presence of Krishna. Krishne swadhamopagate dharma jnanadivisha kalau nashta drishamesha puranarko adunodita. That in this dark age of Kali, when before Kali Yuga began, Krishna left this world, this material world, and with him also left jnana and dharma, knowledge and religion, because he is the source of knowledge and religion. So when he goes, whatever is connected to him also goes, in one sense. So then the sages of Naimisharanya asked, what will happen to the people in this dark age of Kali? So Suta Goswami is answering that this Purana, Bhagavad Purana, has arisen as the sun to give light to the people in this dark age of Kali. So now Krishna Surya Sama, Krishna is about to take birth, which means the sun is about to rise. So we will get light. And from the beginning of the first canto, first chapter, first verse, it starts with Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. That's the invocation that invokes the presence of Krishna. So from the beginning we have presence of Krishna in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. It's not that Krishna is about to appear now in the end of 9th canto and then in 10th canto. Krishna has already appeared from the first verse. So all the speakers who are speaking on Bhagavatam, they are just trying to emphasize on that Krishna is here, he is not absent. Krishna says, I am not present in yogi's heart. I am not present even in Vaikuntha, Krishna is saying. But I am present there where my devotees are discussing about me. So this is the place we are discussing about Krishna. Krishna is present here. Of course, Krishna is also present in yogi's heart as super soul, and he is also there in Vaikuntha. But this shloka is there, I think, in Padma Purana, to stress on the fact that he is more present when devotees are discussing about him. Krishna is everywhere. He is not absent from anywhere. There is no vacuum in the whole creation. All over the creation, there are living entities. Eko Bahusyam. Krishna alone is enough. He is Atma Rama. He is enough for his own enjoyment. But then he creates so many living entities so that he can have multiple exchanges of love. That's the reason we exist. So the example is given that there is a musician. A musician, all devotees are musicians, some more, some less. But you can understand this example very easily. A musician has music within him. If someone is a guitar player, he has symphonies and everything within him, and he can compose and he can enjoy like that. Within their head, they can enjoy. But when this guitar player actually picks up a guitar and plays, so he has music within him, but now music is coming from outside, from him, and he enjoys more. So in the same way, Krishna is enjoying within. He is Atma Rama, original Atma Rama. Atma Rama means one who takes pleasure in himself. So the pure devotees are also called Atma Rama. But Krishna is the original Atma Rama. He is enjoying in himself, but he expands into so many energies, Vibhinamsha and Swa-amsha and Shaktis, to enjoy from outside also. Actually, nothing is outside him, but that's his pastime of expansion. That's why it is said, Eko Bahusyam. One becomes many. So this is the reason. Sometimes we think in our conditioned state, oh, we are suffering in this material world. Why does Krishna create us? And then question is asked, there are Nitya Siddha devotees who never become conditioned, and we are Nitya Baddhas, or we have been in material world from time immemorial. Why is this discrimination? Why were we not Nitya Siddha? Why are we made Nitya Baddha? So this question also comes. But actually, in one sense, being conditioned and being liberated is only relative. We are always, the soul is always liberated. Because if you put oil on water, it doesn't mix. So that's why anarthopashamam sakshad, all the material miseries and material happiness is superfluous on the spiritual platform. Soul doesn't suffer. So this is what's explained in Bhagavatam. Soul never suffers. So in third canto, this paradox is discussed. Soul never suffers because it's spiritual. So soul cannot go through material experiences directly. It doesn't touch. Just like oil doesn't mix with water. And the body is material. Matter is dead. So who is suffering then? You understand? The body is matter. So matter doesn't suffer. If I hit this wood, will the wood say, oh, I'm feeling pain? No, wood is dead. So all these material elements that we have, they are dead. So matter cannot suffer. Soul cannot also suffer. Because soul is totally spiritual. It has nothing to do with matter. So who is suffering? So this is the question asked in third canto. Anyone knows the answer? Who is suffering? Yes, you are very close, very close. So yes, that's actually answer. The false ego makes us think that we are suffering. Actually, there is no suffering, no material suffering and no material happiness. But because of the false ego, not the real ego. Real ego is that we are parts and parcel of Krishna, servant of Krishna. So false ego is we think we are the body and we suffer. So example is given if there is a very nice movie made by some expert director and the production team, and you go to watch the movie and you come out crying or very happy or crying because you relate to the movie, the characters of the movie, the whole situation, the whole picturization there. Nothing has happened to you. You went very healthy in there, but you came out very emotional. So nothing actually happened to you, but you related with the characters in a deep way. So in the same way, in this world, we relate to our situation too much, and that's why we suffer. Yesterday we were in Sandeep Prabhu's house. It was his father left his body few years back, 8 years back, on yesterday's date. So we were discussing this point, that why are we so much moved when some near and dear leaves this world? This is one of the greatest distress someone can have. Prabhupada gives this example in 6th chapter. Gurunapi na vichalyet. A devotee is never shaken by the greatest misery. And in purport, Prabhupada writes, gives this example. What is the greatest misery? If some immediate relative leaves their body. Like recently, a couple of years back, my mother left the body. So it was the first time I experienced that such a relative, very near relative had left. So I could see. But somehow I handled it okay. But from within I was affected. So at the time, my mother left body in Vrindavan. So we cremated her also in Vrindavan, and ISKCON devotees came. So it went very nicely, the whole situation. So one of my father's old students also attended that cremation there. And later, he told my father that I want to meet your son, have a meeting after a few days, because family was affected. So after a month, that person came, and I was wondering what he wants to ask me. So he came, and because he came in the cremation of my mother, so then he asked me, now this person is a Ayurveda doctor, and he has been in some sort of Gurukul in India, in Haridwar, and he knows yoga and Ayurveda. So he came and he asked that during the cremation of your mother, I observed you, and you handled it in a mature way. How is it? How could you do it? I want to ask, because he said, I practice detachment from my family. I have wives, parents, and young daughter. He said sometimes, or pretty much daily, he goes in the fields in his village and he tries to think about detachment, but he's not able to. He said, I'm very attached to my daughter and family. But I saw that detachment in you, he said. So I was not expecting that, because I thought I was very affected from within, but externally he was observing. So then I said, this is the process of bhakti. When you perform hearing and chanting, you won't be fully shaken or fully elated when some material happiness comes. So Bhakti teaches us in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Sukh dukhe samay kritva labha labha jaya jayau. We should be equipoised. If some happiness comes, we shouldn't be fully elated. We shouldn't jump too much, because it will go. Anything material comes and goes. And if some great distress comes, we shouldn't be too depressed. We should be equipoised on a material level. But on the spiritual level, we should be very eager to serve Krishna. So that's the only way, and that's why Bhagavatam was written in the first place. So Bhagavatam has been the main text on which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu based his teachings on. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it is said, in Bhagavatam it is said, Śrīmad Bhāgavatam Puranam Amalam. Amalam means pure. This is the pure Bhagavatam, pure Purana. There are other Puranas also, which mainly deals with subject matters for those who are in lower modes, mode of passion, ignorance, and even goodness. But Śrīmad Bhāgavatam has nothing to do with that. It is above the three modes. That's why it is called Puranam Amalam. Then in another verse it is said, Śrīmad Bhāgavatam Pramanam Amalam. Yad Śrīmad Bhāgavatam Pramanam Amalam means this is the pure proof. Pramana means proof. What is the proof of something? So Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is the proof. So what is the proof that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is the proof. And to establish that, so many acharyas have written commentaries on Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. But the topmost and most elaborate study or commentary on Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is Srila Jiva Goswami's Shat Sandarbha. He is the greatest Vaishnava scholar. He has given, I think, what, 4 lakh verses. He has composed so many verses which are not there in Mahabharata, more 4 times that, I think. He's such a great scholar. There has been no greater scholar of Bhagavad philosophy than Jiva Goswami. So in his Shat Sandarbha, Sandarbha means actually stringing or bringing together the teachings of Bhagavatam. In his, another word for Sandarbha is compendium. In his work, these 6 Sandarbhas, he has elaborately mentioned why Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is important and how it is most important. So another name for Shat Sandarbha is Bhagavata Sandarbha, compendium on Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. And then the 6th part I was reading recently, we have actually, the first Sandarbha has come out by BBT. It's called Tattva Sandarbha, compendium on the actual absolute truth. And in Tattva Sandarbha, it is explained why Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is the main proof. It has 2 parts. One is Pramana, the proof, how Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is the main proof. And the second part is Prameya, means the object which is established by that proof. And who is the object? That's Krishna. We are trying to establish Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then we have Paramatma Sandarbha, which is compendium on the super soul. Then we have Bhagavat Sandarbha. So I was always confused, but recently I read. So Bhagavata Sandarbha means the Shat Sandarbha as a whole. But within that, one of the Sandarbha is called Bhagavat Sandarbha, which means compendium on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan. And then we have Krishna Sandarbha, which means compendium. Hare Krishna Prabhu, please come this side. So compendium on Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's Krishna Sandarbha. And then the last 2 we have Bhakti Sandarbha, compendium on devotional service, and Preeti Sandarbha, compendium on the pure love of God. So in these books, Jiva Goswami has elaborately mentioned with all the proofs. You cannot refute. If someone has doubt, then how Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is the proof, then we should read all these things. One devotee, I don't want to name without his permission, he's a Melbourne devotee, senior devotee. So he read Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, and there it says, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. And because of, those who come from India, there's so much confusion in India. Who is supreme? And within Vishnu Tattva, who is supreme? So much confusion. So this devotee said that in ISKCON version of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, it is written, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. Maybe they have elaborated or they have twisted it in some way. So he went and got Bhagavatam from other publications, not BBT Bhagavatams, but maybe Gita Press or other Bhagavatams. And everywhere that verse was there, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam in 1st canto. Verse cannot be changed. So then he became devotee, and now is making so many devotees. So the Bhagavatam is the proof. And if you want more elaboration, then we can read these commentaries and the Shat Sandarbha. So by reading Bhagavatam, not only we will get rid of all material disturbances, we'll slowly come to a platform, we'll start relishing Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. So 2 types of people hear Bhagavatam. Those who are suffering or enjoying, those who are relating too much to the material experiences. Then there are liberated personalities. They also hear Bhagavatam, but in a different way. They relish it. We do it as a duty because it's a part of the morning program, part of Prabhupada's program. So as a duty, we do it. And we relish little bit. Maybe not so many names. We may not be relishing that, when will these names finish? But those who are very pure, they will relish each syllable. So, but Bhagavatam is for both these categories. Those who relish or those who don't relish all the parts. If we hear, eventually we will come to that level when we'll relish every part of Bhagavatam. At the same time, that doesn't mean we will not have our favorite sections of Bhagavatam. We'll still have, the pure devotees also have the favorite sections. In the spiritual world also there is variety. There is a hierarchy, spiritual hierarchy. There are different rasas. There are friends of Krishna. Then there are parents of Krishna. So they relate to Krishna in a different way. So that's the pure devotional level. So how does a devotee get rid of his material reactions, positive and negative? So it is given in Bhagavatam at two places. One in the pastime of Dhruva Maharaj, and one in the pastime of Prahlad Maharaj. So it is said that like a devotee just goes through his life, we are also relating to material world. Grahasthas have to work or have business, earn money. So we are in this world, so there will be some material miseries, some material happiness. But how does a devotee see it? In a metaphysical way, with a distance. He just observes it. And then it is mentioned in Bhagavatam, by enjoying or feeling happiness in material happiness, when material happiness comes, by enjoying it, that doesn't mean trying to enjoy our senses. But if it comes, okay, just observe it. So by going through the material happiness, you get rid of all the pious material reactions. And then it is said, by performing austerities in devotional service, just the minimal austerities, 4 regulative principles, or, waking up early. These are minimal austerities given in Bhakti Yoga actually. So by going through that, devotees get rid of the reactions of sinful activities from this life or past lives. So this is how a devotee nullifies both positive and negative reactions. And then eventually he gets a body, just like Dhruva Maharaj. When he got liberated, a Vimana came from the spiritual world with Vishnu Dutas, and instantaneously he changed his body into a spiritual body. And he stepped on the head of the death. Death became like a stepping stone for Dhruva Maharaj or for any pure devotee. A pure devotee steps on the head of death and embarks on his journey. He steps on the airplane, Vimana, which comes from the spiritual world. So this is what's awaiting us in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam and in the process of bhakti. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there is one pastime in which we can see how we act on the spiritual level, how pure personalities act. In pastime of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visiting Advaita Acharya's house for prasadam after he took sannyas, we can see there's Nityanand Prabhu, who is Vishnu Tattva, there's Advaita Acharya, who is also Vishnu Tattva, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, of course, he's Krishna himself. And they have interactions. So Mahaprabhu said, it's very funny also, very entertaining. At the same time, the consciousness is elevated when we read and hear such pastimes. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, you have put such a big feast in front of me. I am just a sannyasi. I am supposed to eat less amount, and that too very simple amounts, not opulent food, because I am a sannyasi. I have some vows. And then Advaita Acharya, who knew Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he said, I know who you are. In Jagannath Puri, as Jagannath, you eat 56 offerings and so many items. So in that comparison, this is just little bit. This is not even a morsel. So now Nityanand Prabhu took those words from Advaita Acharya for another funny interaction. Because Advaita Acharya said, this is just little bit. This is not too much. So then Nityanand Prabhu said, oh, I have been fasting and I was expecting a substantial meal, and this is just little bit. You have just ruined my day. So, and then Advaita Acharya said, oh, you are, just reject Paramahamsa. you have spoiled my house by coming here. Just eat whatever is given to you. Don't throw it away. So now Nityanand Prabhu took that and he threw away some prasad from his plate. And then some of the prasad, some particle touched Advaita Acharya's leg, and he started jumping. Oh, Avdhuta's prasad has touched my body, I'm purified. It doesn't make sense materially what's going on here within these personalities. One time they are chastising one person, rebuking. Other time they are saying, oh, they are exalted. So these are very entertaining, funny, as well as enlivening pastimes given in Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita. So more we hear, more we become purified, and then we can have Krishna appear in our heart. Otherwise, we are stuck in this world which is full of mainly two things, two types of personalities, and sometimes one person has the both of these disqualification. One is called incompetency and another is called corruption. That's how this world is run. The leaders are mostly incompetent, and even if they are competent, they are corrupt. So they won't do what's required of them. So this is the problem. So we shouldn't take shelter of such leaders in this world. So we shouldn't worry too much about politics, what's going on in this world, who is at war with who. You know, it's all incompetency and corruption. And more we indulge in that, it takes us away from Krishna consciousness. So let's all dive deep into Prabhupada's books, and this is book marathon. As much as possible, we should help people, have some compassion on people who don't have access to such nectar. So by distributing more and more books, we can help everyone. And today we see there were 28 devotees who went out yesterday, and I'm reading scores daily, so it's ecstatic to see so many devotees distributing so many books. So we should do it more and more. So thank you very much. I'd like to end here and see if you have any questions or comments by senior devotees. Hare Krishna. Any microphone is here?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you for the nice class. Prabhu, you were talking about how when we suffered, the body or the soul doesn't suffer. It's the false ego that is suffering. And Prabhu, we know that, there are these material exercises for controlling the mind, like doing deep breaths and so-called yoga exercises. So would you know any material processes that help in controlling the false ego or bringing down the false ego, I guess?
There cannot be any process on the material level to deal with false ego, because whole material level is false. So that is the whole issue of the goal of Bhakti Yoga, to help us come to the spiritual level, the real ego level. Jivera Swarup hoy Krishnera Nitya Das. Our real ego is that we are Krishna's servant. So in Bhakti Yoga, we hear and chant and do other processes of bhakti. So we are acting on the ego, real ego platform. So that is the only process. There is no other material process to help us get rid of false ego.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu, any comment?
Just want to know from you, reading all these names, sometime when I'm doing the class, here you go, all these names again. So you were talking about the Vyasadeva, they wrote the Bhagavatam, he was dissatisfied, so not enough glorification of Krishna. Then this Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, he wrote the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. But then why all these names? I know it's spiritual, is to mention the names of devotees, but it's like so elaborate, names after names, a whole chapter, and there's very little about, even though Krishna directly. Of course we're going to go 10 canto, but then there's a whole chapter just names. They can just briefly mention. So how do you explain that?
So as I already mentioned, that there are 10 subject matters, in any Mahapurana, including Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Sarga, Visarga, Utaya, then Manvantare Shanu Katha. Manvantara is one subject matter, and Manvantara means hearing about the Manus, the rulers of mankind, and their sons. So that's one subject matter out of the 10 subject matter of any Mahapurana. In smaller Puranas, there are 5 subject matters. But in Mahapuranas, there are 10. So that's one of them. So the beauty of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is, although these other subjects are mentioned there, but they have a direct connection to the main subject matter, which is Samambonam, Ashraya Tattva. In other Puranas, that is missing. It's not fully elaborately linked up. So in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, it's done in the best way. And the other Ishanu Katha, other main incarnations are also mentioned. And then, as I mentioned, in 2nd canto, 3rd canto, also there is mention of Krishna directly. So these 90 chapters of 10th canto, as well as some other chapters out of 335 chapters in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, there is a lot of description of Krishna directly. And if the direct mention is not there, everything else is leading up to that or connecting to that goal. So in that way, and how it exactly is, that we, or a devotee, when he is fully pure, he can see that. So as I was saying, that's the relishing stage. In relishing stage, one can see connection. Just like a pure devotee can see Krishna everywhere, the example given is a mother when she sees the slippers of the small child, she can have the feeling, same motherly feeling for the child by just seeing the slippers, not the child. So in the same way, in Bhagavatam, a pure devotee can see that connection. So that's why it said Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya. So Prabhupada has given this morning program of daily Bhagavatam, Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya. No, that's why Prabhupada said no Bhagavat Saptah, not 1 week, daily. Yeah. So that's why emphasis is here. So anything that takes us away from that emphasis, we should reject that.
Very good point. One more thing is, now we are leading up to the 10th canto. Srila Prabhupada pretty much emphasized that we shouldn't jump to the 10th canto. Sorry? We shouldn't jump.
We shouldn't jump, yes.
So we're coming canto by canto. But then we see he gave Krishna book right in the beginning, like when in the 70s, we already have the Krishna book. That's from the 10th canto. So is there any explanation of that? How he, even though he emphasized we should go canto by canto to the 10th canto, so then we know Krishna's position, but then he gave the part of the 10th canto is Krishna book, right in the beginning,
yes.
Actually distribute.
So yes, there is explanation. So Prabhupada was following in footsteps of Acharyas. Just like Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he was very old and he thought he may not be able to finish Chaitanya Charitamrita. So what he did, just in the beginning of Madhya Leela, he gave the whole Antya Leela in summary. But then, because of Krishna's plan was there, Mahaprabhu's plan was there, he was able to complete Chaitanya Charitamrita. But he feared that even a pure devotee doesn't exactly know Krishna's plan, because that's the dynamic relationship. In any pure love relationship, there's the dynamics involved. So there's some suspense. Even Krishna doesn't know what will happen in his pastimes. That's the suspense for him to enjoy. That's the Leela. So Prabhupada followed in the footsteps. So he thought he may not be able to finish Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, which he didn't actually. So he gave Krishna book. Now Krishna book is the summary study of 10th canto, but it is a very special compilation because there is the